What if the universe is not silent, but sending us questions we do not yet know how to answer? In the vast black ocean between the stars, silence rules, broken only by the faint whispers of light. Against this endless backdrop drifts a solitary wanderer. It is known as 3I Atlas, the third interstellar object ever recorded by human eyes. An emissary of another sun, moving through our solar system like an arrow loosed across a battlefield, indifferent to the worlds it passes. Yet it is not alone. In recent years, astronomers have traced another stranger. A dim shape faint against the dark, its motion marked by an urgency that unsettles. It does not drift like a comet in quiet exile. It cuts space with intent, as if carrying momentum from a story written far beyond our reach. For the first time in human history, two such messengers arrive in such short succession. One after the other, crossing paths with our planetary system as though some invisible thread has drawn them here. The coincidence is staggering, or perhaps it is not coincidence at all. Are these fragments no more than ice and stone, abandoned to the tides of gravity and time? Or do they carry with them a deeper message, etched in their trajectories, carved into their silence? The solar system becomes a stage. The planets turn in their ancient orbits like actors reciting lines rehearsed for billions of years, and into this performance step new characters, scripts hidden, motives unclear. At the heart of the stage, the sun waits. Its gravity stretches outward like an invitation, or perhaps like a summons, as if all roads, all wanderers must end at its blinding finish line. The night sky has always been a map of mystery. For most of human history, its constellations were fixed, a theater of unchanging lights. Yet in the past decade, the darkness has begun to yield secrets once thought unreachable. Among them, the rarest of revelations, the arrivals of wanderers not born of our sun. In 2017, the first of these heralds appeared. ʻOumuamua, a thin shard of something unknown discovered by the Pan-STARRS survey telescope in Hawaii. It slipped into our solar system without warning, the first confirmed interstellar object. Its brightness shifted strangely. Its trajectory defied easy explanation. For the first time, astronomers looked up and realized that the void beyond had sent them something new. 2 years later, another messenger arrived. This time it was unmistakably a comet. Named 2I Borisov after the amateur astronomer Gennady Borisov who first detected it, the object trailed gas and dust like a torch from another sun. Unlike ʻOumuamua, it seemed familiar in form, but its chemistry carried the signature of alien birth. It told scientists what many had long suspected, that planetary systems everywhere must be casting debris into the dark. By 2020, the Atlas survey in Hawaii, designed not for grand discovery but for defense against hazardous asteroids, captured yet another anomaly. It was faint, fast, and unmistakably interstellar. Designated 3I Atlas, it became the third confirmed visitor from beyond. The survey that bore its name had fulfilled a mission far greater than planetary protection. It had opened another page in the book of cosmic messengers. Now, as astronomers comb through torrents of nightly sky data from Pan-STARRS, Atlas, and countless robotic telescopes, another faint streak emerges. Its path cuts through the stars with unusual haste. Algorithms flag it. Human eyes confirm it. In observatories, the news spreads with quiet astonishment. Not one, not two, but now a growing chorus of interstellar fragments have found their way to us. The challenge of such discovery is immense. Against the shifting background of millions of stars, the objects are no brighter than a grain of dust caught in sunlight. They move fast, slipping through the field of view before most detectors can lock onto them. Their faint light curves must be teased out of the noise with patience and precision. To find one is improbable. To find several in the span of a single human generation reshapes expectation itself. In control rooms and research centers, scientists react with a mix of awe and urgency. For those who traced ʻOumuamua's path, this feels like a continuation of a story still unfinished. For those who measured Borisov's glowing tail, it is proof that the galaxy is restless, scattering its pieces into the interstellar night. And for those who named Atlas, it is a reminder that we are living through an age when the cosmos itself is beginning to reveal its traffic. We stand at the dawn of a new astronomy, where no longer is the solar system a closed arena. It is a crossroads, a place where fragments of distant suns now pass one after another, each leaving behind questions larger than the last. In the growing archives of sky surveys, a realization deepens. The stars are not only sending us their light, they are sending us their debris, their secrets, and perhaps their echoes of formation. The discovery of these objects marks the beginning of a vigilant era. Telescopes no longer simply record what shines above. They listen for motion, for faint disturbances, for shadows that betray the presence of wanderers from afar. And as each new detection unfolds, a deeper truth emerges. The night sky is not still. It is alive with the passage of travelers whose stories began in suns we will never see. For centuries, humanity imagined the solar system as an island, a self-contained oasis drifting through the silent gulf of interstellar space. Comets and asteroids, though sometimes mysterious, were thought to be its native stones, fragments born of the sun's creation and confined to its gravity. The night sky was seen as a grand cathedral, but one sealed, with walls that kept the outside world at bay. That illusion began to fracture in 2017. ʻOumuamua, the first known interstellar visitor, slipped into the solar system like an uninvited guest. Its speed, its strange light curve, and its inexplicable acceleration told astronomers that it came from elsewhere, from another star. Probability models suggested such an encounter should not happen for centuries, perhaps even millennia. Yet it appeared suddenly, as though the galaxy had delivered a message out of sequence. Then, only 2 years later, Comet Borisov arrived. A comet unmistakable in its shape, its glowing tail bearing chemical signatures alien to our solar system. It was no statistical outlier. It was confirmation. The first messenger had not been a fluke. A pattern was forming, and when 3I Atlas was confirmed, the shock deepened. The third interstellar object in less than a single human lifetime, a pace utterly inconsistent with the predictions of celestial mechanics. By earlier estimates, one such object might be found only once every 500 years. Yet here, in the span of less than a decade, 3 had revealed themselves. The scientific community reeled. How could the void, long assumed to be empty, suddenly appear crowded? What unseen current was sweeping these fragments across our path? For generations, the solar system had been described as a quiet backwater of the Milky Way. Now, it seemed more like an open thoroughfare, with traffic flowing in from directions unknown. Statistical models collapsed under the weight of reality. Some scientists argued that detection bias had blinded humanity for centuries. Only in the last decade had telescopes become sensitive enough to spot such faint, fast-moving bodies. Pan-STARRS in Hawaii, the Atlas survey, and new sky mapping projects had opened eyes that were once closed. Perhaps interstellar wanderers had always been drifting through the solar system, and humanity had simply been too blind to notice. But others were less convinced. If the galaxy truly cast these objects so frequently, why had no trace been found in earlier centuries of observation? Why had no comet of foreign chemistry been recorded by the astronomers of antiquity? Why had their movements not disturbed the delicate ballet of the planets before now? The silence of the past made the noise of the present more unsettling. The timing itself seemed strange. 3 visitors in succession, as if cued to arrive, as if their appearances were linked by some hidden rhythm. Astronomers debated whether the solar system had crossed into a denser region of the galactic plane, a stream of debris shed by long-dead stars. The Milky Way, after all, is not uniform. It is streaked with rivers of dust and clouds of shattered matter, remnants of collisions and gravitational tides. If the sun's orbit through the galaxy had carried us into one such current, the sudden flood of interstellar fragments might be explained. And yet, the coincidence felt heavy with meaning. These were not ordinary comets. They bore the marks of alien suns, ʻOumuamua's elongated shape and unexplained acceleration, Borisov's distinct chemistry, rich in carbon monoxide, far beyond the levels seen in most solar system comets, Atlas with its fragile structure, crumbling as though made of something never tested by the sun before. Each was singular, each mysterious in its own right. And now another. The pattern could no longer be ignored. The shock was not only scientific but philosophical. For thousands of years, human imagination had peopled the heavens with myths, yet science had steadily stripped them away, revealing a vastness cold and impersonal. To find fragments of other worlds arriving one after another was to re-enchant the sky, but with evidence rather than legend. It suggested that the galaxy was not a still sea but a restless tide, and that the solar system was not isolated but exposed. Probability gave way to possibility. If 3 objects had been found so quickly, how many more had passed unseen? How many had burned faintly in the sun's light, lost to history, never recorded? The idea that such encounters were rare became difficult to defend. Instead, a new picture emerged. The solar system is porous, its boundaries crossed far more often than once imagined, and so unsettling questions arose. If the void is filled with fragments, where do they come from? Are they cast-off debris from the birth of distant planets, hurled away during chaotic beginnings? Are they shards of worlds destroyed by gravity's violence, broken apart and scattered across light years? Or could they be something more deliberate? Relics of ancient technology adrift between the stars, hidden in plain sight among the rubble of creation. The shock lay not only in the discovery but in what it implied. The cosmos seemed to be speaking in a new tongue, and humanity had only just begun to hear the first words. Each visitor was a syllable in a sentence still unfinished. A sentence that might describe the birth of stars, the death of planets, or the unseen currents of a galaxy in motion. The solar system, once believed quiet, was revealed as a stage on which actors arrived unannounced. Their scripts unreadable, their motives unclear. And at the heart of the stage, the sun continued its steady burn, as if waiting for humanity to realize that it was not the only star with a story to tell. For scientists, the shock was both a warning and an invitation. A warning that the universe is more dynamic, more crowded than once believed. An invitation to listen more carefully, to watch more closely, to question every assumption about the emptiness of space. What had once seemed improbable was now undeniable. Interstellar visitors are not rare. They are here. And their arrival has redrawn the map of cosmic expectation. Humanity stands on the edge of a realization both thrilling and unsettling. The solar system is no longer an island. It is a crossroads, and the galaxy is passing through. Discovery is only the beginning. To glimpse an interstellar wanderer crossing the night is to receive a question. To study it is to attempt an answer, and the closer astronomers have looked, the more elusive those answers have become. When the faint streak of this new object was first traced against the stars, its motion was swift and unusual. Its orbit was quickly calculated, plotted against the solar system's familiar map of planets and comets. What emerged was a trajectory not closed, not bound. The curve bent outward, not inward. A path that never loops back, never repeats, never yields to the pull of the sun. Hyperbolic. The unmistakable signature of an interstellar traveler. This alone was extraordinary. Yet the work had only begun. Spectral analysis followed. Astronomers dispersed its light, straining to catch the fingerprints of its composition. The photons were faint, scattered by distance, but within their spectrum lay hints of what the object carried. Was it ice shedding a ghostly tail in the sun's heat? Was it dust and carbon like the primitive comets that swarmed the Oort cloud? Or something denser, metallic, forged in the furnaces of long-dead stars? From ground-based observatories in Chile, Spain, and Hawaii, scientists gathered fragments of its spectrum. Hubble was directed toward it, its instruments designed to pull meaning from the dimmest light. Each data point was another brushstroke, another attempt to reveal a portrait of this interstellar messenger. And yet the picture that emerged was blurred, elusive, refusing to settle into clarity. The measurements suggested volatility as though the object was fragile, its body composed of ices too unstable to survive long in the inner solar system. Like 3I Atlas before it, it seemed to weaken under the sun's gaze. A reminder that not all wanderers endure the same journey, but even this was uncertain. The light curves wavered. Models diverged. The numbers whispered possibility but not certainty. Velocity tracking told its own story. This object was fast, faster than most comets that orbit the sun. Its hyperbolic excess speed, the measure of how much velocity it carried beyond escape, marked it unmistakably as interstellar. No slingshot around Jupiter, no planetary perturbation could account for its pace. It bore momentum from another star system, a motion that had not been altered since it left its birthplace millions, perhaps billions of years ago. When its path was compared to 3I Atlas, similarities emerged. Both were fragile, both traveled on steep hyperbolic arcs, but subtle differences raised more questions. The new object's inclination was sharper, its entry angle tilted against the plane of the solar system's planets. It was as if it had come not from the galactic disk but from a higher latitude, plunging down from the halo above. Astronomers traced its trajectory backward, running simulations of its path through the galaxy. No parent star could be definitively identified. The universe had erased the trail, scattering it across too much time and too much distance. Some suspected that these interstellar fragments were born in the chaotic infancy of planetary systems. When giant worlds fling out leftover debris, a single gas giant forming in a distant system could eject thousands of icy bodies into the void. Over billions of years, those fragments would drift like pollen, crossing star systems at random. Perhaps what humanity now witnessed was simply the inevitable outcome of galactic migration. But inevitability does not feel like coincidence, and 3 arrivals in such quick succession still carried the weight of improbability. Patterns teased the mind. ʻOumuamua had accelerated in ways still unexplained, as though pushed by something beyond ordinary cometary activity. Borisov had resembled a comet, yet with chemistry far richer in carbon monoxide than any native of the solar system. Atlas had crumbled, its body too fragile to survive, and now this new visitor, arriving so close in time with its own peculiar trajectory, each a variation on a theme, each another note in a melody not yet understood. With every observation, the mystery deepened. The tools grew sharper, yet the picture less certain. The Vera Rubin Observatory, soon to open its massive eye in Chile, promises to expand the search even further. Its wide-field survey will scan the entire southern sky every few nights, capturing transients, flares, and moving objects with a sensitivity unmatched in history. It may find dozens of interstellar wanderers in the coming decades, or it may confirm that this flurry of discoveries was an anomaly, a rare clustering of chance. For now, the sense is one of standing on a threshold. The solar system, long thought to be isolated, has been revealed as porous. The void is not silent. Fragments arrive bearing stories written in their chemistry and their motion. Yet the stories resist translation. Each answer dissolves into another question. The deeper astronomers peer, the more paradox they uncover. A fragile object that should not have survived such a journey. A trajectory that seems both random and deliberate. A spectrum that suggests both ice and dust, but not in proportions known to any local comet. And above it all, the timing, the uncanny clustering of arrivals defying the patience of probability. It is as though the cosmos, once distant and abstract, has stepped closer, whispering in riddles. Not through radio signals or alien machines, but through the language of stone, ice, and motion. Each interstellar visitor is a fragment of an untold story, a reminder that the universe does not unfold according to human expectation. And so, the investigation continues. Telescopes wait for clear nights, their domes opening like metallic flowers to the sky. Data streams through fiber optic cables, filling servers with numbers that must be coaxed into meaning. Astronomers sit before screens, tracing faint curves across graphs, searching for patterns, for anomalies, for something that will pierce the fog of uncertainty. The deeper humanity looks, the deeper the mystery becomes, and the question grows heavier. If this object is not simply chance, then what larger current carries it? What unseen river of the galaxy has swept these wanderers into our path? And what else might follow in their wake? The solar system, once thought a stage for a single star, now feels like a crossroads, where the galaxy itself pauses, leaving behind fragments of its story. And the closer scientists look at these fragments, the clearer it becomes that the story is far from over. The closer science looked, the more the mystery grew teeth. Numbers that should have soothed instead stirred unease. Predictions that once seemed stable bent beneath new evidence. The cosmos, it seemed, had chosen not to be simple. It began with acceleration. In the case of ʻOumuamua, the anomaly was unmistakable. Its trajectory shifted as though nudged by an unseen hand. The sun's gravity could not explain it. The planets exerted no such pull. The usual culprit, outgassing, jets of vapor streaming from a warming comet, left no visible trace. No tail, no halo, nothing that telescopes could record. Yet still it moved, faster than gravity alone would permit. Now, with this new object, hints of the same enigma emerged. Tracking stations charted its orbit with exquisite care, comparing velocity across weeks and months. Tiny deviations whispered through the data, subtle but persistent. Was it the familiar push of sublimating ice? Or was something less ordinary at work? The silence of its spectrum offered no comfort. It reflected sunlight faintly but unevenly, as though its surface was not uniform, as though some hidden texture caught the light in ways earthly instruments struggled to resolve. Some nights it seemed alive with reflection, glinting sharper than expected. On others it dulled, vanishing almost into invisibility. Comets are mercurial, but this was stranger, as if its very surface refused to behave in ways that models predicted. The object, like its predecessors, resisted categorization. The coincidence deepened the discomfort. To witness one interstellar visitor in a human lifetime had once been considered impossible. To witness 3 in such rapid sequence defied probability, and now another, inbound with a haste that echoed the same rhythm. It felt less like random chance and more like a drumbeat, as if the galaxy itself was keeping time, sending fragments to us in measured intervals. Some astronomers turned to simulations. Perhaps the sun was moving through a cloud of debris, a cluster of objects shed from a disrupted planetary system light years away. If so, the arrivals were not coincidence but the natural signature of celestial migration. Stars move in great orbits around the Milky Way, carrying with them their children and their wreckage. Sometimes those paths cross and the rubble of one system becomes the visitor of another. If this was true, humanity was sailing through the wake of an ancient catastrophe, brushing against the remnants of worlds already lost. But other speculations were less comfortable. Could these arrivals be guided? Not by intelligence in the direct sense, but by cosmic structures unseen. Gravitational corridors run through the galaxy, invisible highways sculpted by the massive stars and gas. Along these channels, debris might flow more easily, drawn into rivers that connect distant regions of space. If these objects were following such a path, then the solar system was no accident. It was a waypoint along a larger current, a node in a map humanity had not yet learned to read. The possibility of risk loomed in the background. Most of these interstellar wanderers would slip past, their trajectories carrying them out again into the dark. But what if one did not? What if a fragment intersected with Earth or Mars or Jupiter? Even a body only a few hundred meters across, traveling at interstellar speed, would strike with energy beyond comprehension. Collisions shaped the early history of planets. Craters on every world testify to that violence. But the idea of a blow struck not by a local asteroid but by a fragment of another sun carried an unsettling weight. A reminder that humanity's fortress is not only threatened from within, but from far beyond. And still, the deeper the study, the less certain the picture became. Data contradicted expectation. Instruments revealed inconsistencies that could not yet be explained. One team reported faint signs of outgassing. Another saw none. Some detected strange variations in brightness. Others dismissed them as error. The object's silence mocked the tools designed to interpret it. It seemed to play with certainty, slipping just out of reach each time a conclusion drew near. The philosophical tension grew heavier. Science thrives on clarity, on drawing lines where there was once fog. Yet here the fog only thickened. The universe was offering not answers but questions, and with each new observation the mystery escalated. What had begun as an anomaly now felt like a pattern. What had been curiosity now felt like omen. Could this be the beginning of a new understanding of the galaxy's traffic? Could it be that interstellar wanderers are more common than once believed, and that humanity is only now awakening to their presence? Or could there be a deeper order, one that hints at structures or forces yet unknown? The silence of space is deceptive. It is not absence. It is not stillness. It is a quiet filled with motion, with fragments crossing paths in ways that defy prediction. These objects are proof. They are reminders that the solar system does not exist in isolation. It is open. It is vulnerable. It is part of a larger story whose scale dwarfs imagination, and so the haunting realization settles like a shadow. The more science observes, the less it understands. Each visitor was expected to clarify. Instead, they complicate. Each measurement, each orbit, each spectral line erodes the comfort of certainty. Instead of a solved riddle, the cosmos offers a deeper one. The escalation is not in numbers alone, but in meaning. These are not just fragments of rock and ice. They are messages written in a language older than humanity, carried across the gulfs of space, arriving unbidden at our star. Whether they are chance debris or something guided by currents unseen, they force a new humility. They force the recognition that the solar system is not a closed room, but a doorway, and something waits beyond. The universe has always been stranger than expected, but now it is stranger still. The human mind does not rest easily with mystery. When confronted with fragments that refuse to explain themselves, it turns to theories, to maps of possibility drawn from both reason and imagination. Interstellar visitors invite no less. Their arrival is not only an astronomical event, but a summons to speculate about the origins of things too vast to witness. The natural theories arrive first. They are grounded in the physics of stars and the violence of creation. Planetary systems are not born in calm. They emerge from collapse and chaos, clouds of gas thickening into stars, disks of dust coalescing into planets. In those early epochs, gravity does not bind everything neatly. Instead, giant worlds fling out the debris they cannot hold, hurling comets into the darkness, ejecting shards of frozen stone into interstellar exile. Perhaps ʻOumuamua, Borisov, Atlas, and this new wanderer are such exiles, relics of other suns' youth, cast out during their system's turbulent adolescence. If so, then the galaxy must be littered with them, billions of fragments adrift like pollen across the void. The fact that we now see them would not be strange, but inevitable. Only our instruments were too blind until now. Other natural theories suggest more catastrophic births. Stars do not live forever. Some swell and shed their outer layers. Others collapse into dwarfs or explode as supernovae, shredding their planetary systems in an instant. Worlds are torn apart, moons broken, oceans boiled away. In such destruction, debris is scattered across light years, fragments bearing scars of their violent origin. Could these wanderers be the remains of planets destroyed? Their shattered pieces now drifting into the solar system as silent memorials of alien apocalypses. Still others look to the long rhythm of galactic dynamics. The Milky Way is not static. It breathes, it rotates, it collides. Stars orbit the center in great arcs, carrying their worlds like passengers. Over billions of years, gravitational tides sweep through, stirring clouds of comets, bending trajectories into new paths. One theory holds that our sun is moving through a dense stream of debris, the relic of a disrupted star system millions of years old. If so, these interstellar visitors are not strange coincidences. They are the natural byproduct of galactic rivers, the solar system passing through a current of fragments carried along for ages untold. Yet the natural theories, though plausible, do not banish unease. They explain the mechanics but not the timing. They account for fragments but not their clustering. The sequence of arrivals still feels uncanny, which is why, beyond the boundaries of caution, speculation spreads its wings. Some turn to the idea of the interstellar arc. What if these objects are not merely debris, but probes of a kind, intentionally or unintentionally carrying information across the stars? Arthur C. Clarke once suggested that any sufficiently advanced technology would be indistinguishable from nature. A probe designed to mimic a comet could pass undetected, its secrets hidden in plain sight. Could ʻOumuamua's unexplained acceleration have been such a signature? Could the silence of this new object be not absence but design? Others wonder if guidance could emerge without intention. Solar gravitational focusing, for example, is a real phenomenon. The sun's mass bends space-time, creating corridors through which objects are drawn. If interstellar debris is scattered widely across the galaxy, the sun might act as a collector, concentrating streams of fragments into our path. Not guided by will but by geometry, not message but inevitability. Speculative thought stretches further still. What if the solar system occupies an intersection of unseen galactic currents, invisible highways of gravity and momentum? Just as oceans on Earth have gyres and convergences where debris collects, the galaxy too may have places where trajectories meet. If so, our star could be a gathering point, a place where the galaxy's fragments wash ashore. Not because we are special, but because we happen to sit at a crossing of currents we cannot yet perceive. Einstein's relativity frames the most profound backdrop. These objects travel on hyperbolic arcs, paths that prove their birth under other suns. To arrive here, they must have crossed millions of years and millions of light years. Their very existence is testimony to deep time. They are messengers not only of distance but of age. Each fragment that brushes past us is older than humanity, older than civilization, perhaps older than Earth itself. They remind us that the universe is not merely vast in space, but immeasurable in duration. And yet, with every theory comes philosophy. Where does natural debris end and where does message begin? If a shard of a dead planet drifts into our solar system, is it not a message of destruction, whether intended or not? If a comet carries chemistry alien to our skies, does it not tell us a story of other oceans, other atmospheres, other beginnings. Even if unintentional, the universe is speaking and these objects are its words. Some resist the temptation of exotic explanations. They warn against reading purpose where there is only chance. They remind us that the human mind is prone to seek pattern in noise, to imagine signal in silence. But others counter that silence itself can be a signal, and that the improbability of these encounters demands an openness to possibility. In laboratories, scientists test samples from local comets, comparing spectra, refining models, searching for the faintest clues that might distinguish alien from native. In observatories, astronomers run simulations of galactic debris, charting probabilities and paths. But beyond the numbers lies a deeper unease, one that no calculation can dispel. It is the sense that these arrivals are more than statistics, that they are reminders of a larger story unfolding just beyond our comprehension. Perhaps the truth is simple, and these objects are merely the dust of stars, carried like seeds across the dark. Or perhaps they are more fragments of meaning cast into the void, awaiting discovery by whoever finds them. Either way, their presence forces a new humility. The solar system is not isolated. It is porous. It is part of a larger fabric that stretches across the galaxy, stitched with forces seen and unseen. And so speculation circles back to philosophy. If these are fragments of nature, they tell us of nature's scale and violence. If they are probes, they tell us of civilizations older than our own. If they are currents, they tell us that the galaxy itself has hidden structures, shaping destinies on scales beyond imagination. What unites all theories is a single truth. These objects are not of us. They come from elsewhere. They are emissaries of the beyond. Whether they are debris or design, message or accident, they remind humanity that the universe is larger than its comprehension, and that meaning lies not in certainty but in wonder. The solar system is no longer a closed stage. It is a crossing, where fragments of other stories arrive unannounced. The question is not only what they are, but what they mean, and that question lingers, haunting as telescopes continue to turn their gaze toward the dark, waiting for the next wanderer to appear. The discoveries have shaken certainty. The theories have multiplied, but in the end, only tools can draw mystery closer. Only instruments sharpened by human ingenuity can bring these fleeting wanderers into focus before they vanish again into the dark. The difficulty is immense. Interstellar objects move with velocities far beyond the comfort of solar system mechanics. They appear without warning, faint as dust, their arcs already carrying them out before telescopes have time to lock their gaze. To chase one is like trying to catch a falling star with bare hands. By the time awareness dawns, the moment is nearly gone. And yet, humanity prepares. In Chile's Atacama Desert, under some of the clearest skies on Earth, a giant is about to wake. The Vera C. Rubin Observatory, equipped with its 8.4-meter mirror and an immense digital camera, will map the entire southern sky every few nights. It is not a telescope that stares narrowly, but one that sweeps broadly, capturing the faintest flicker of motion across billions of stars. Its surveys will not only track asteroids and supernovae, but will almost certainly multiply the sightings of interstellar wanderers. For the first time, humanity will watch the night like a living film, each frame revealing change, each change a clue. Beyond Earth's surface, preparations extend into space. The European Space Agency has charted a mission unlike any before, the Comet Interceptor. Scheduled for launch in the coming years, it will wait in deep space on standby. Its purpose is not to chase known targets, but to lie in wait, ready to intercept a yet unknown comet, or perhaps an interstellar object, when it is first detected. A spacecraft designed for patience, poised like a hunter, prepared to spring toward the unexpected. It embodies a new philosophy of exploration, not only to study what is predictable, but to seize the unpredictable when it appears. NASA, too, envisions future missions of unprecedented urgency. Concepts have emerged for ʻOumuamua-class interceptors, spacecraft capable of rapid launch, designed to pursue interstellar objects within weeks of their discovery. Traditional missions take years of planning, years of waiting, but interstellar wanderers do not grant such luxury. They appear suddenly, race past, and are gone forever. If humanity is ever to study one up close, the response must be immediate, a race against cosmic velocity. These interceptor designs imagine rockets on alert, a new readiness prepared to chase the fleeting. Yet the technical challenges are immense. To match velocity with an object traveling at tens of kilometers per second requires staggering precision and power. Trajectories must be calculated with speed and accuracy, leaving no margin for error. Navigation must adjust for faint signals, tiny shifts in brightness, subtle gravitational influences. Even the active approach risks failure, for the objects themselves may be fragile, crumbling under the sun's heat, shedding dust and gas that obscure their surfaces. To arrive too late is to find only debris where once there was a mystery. Still, the pursuit continues, armed with new techniques. Spectroscopy will dissect the light of these visitors, separating wavelengths to reveal chemical fingerprints. From hydrogen to carbon monoxide, from silicates to organic molecules, each spectral line is a thread that ties an object to its birthplace. Particle analysis, too, may play a role. Instruments capable of catching dust grains in space, preserving their structure, could hold pieces of other suns in human hands. Artificial intelligence now enters the arena. Algorithms trained on countless sky surveys sift through data faster than any human eye could manage. They can recognize faint streaks, patterns of motion too subtle for manual detection. They can predict orbits with speed, flagging objects in time for telescopes to swing into action. Already, AI has accelerated the discovery of asteroids and exoplanets. Soon, it may be the key to capturing the next interstellar messenger before it slips away. And in this pursuit, the borders of nations blur. Astronomers in Hawaii, engineers in Europe, scientists in China, India, and the Americas all contribute pieces to the puzzle. Data is shared across continents, signals transmitted from telescopes scattered on mountains and in deserts, from satellites in orbit and probes drifting through space. The pursuit of these wanderers becomes a rare kind of unity, a moment when science stands above division, when the mystery of the cosmos reminds humanity of its shared smallness. The dream persists of one day not only observing, but catching one, of launching a spacecraft swiftly enough, guiding it precisely enough to meet an interstellar traveler head-on, to photograph its surface, to measure its gases, to touch its dust, to learn not from speculation but from presence. Such a moment would be a revolution, a glimpse not just into another world, but into another system, another sun, another chapter of cosmic history written far from Earth's sky. It may not happen with this object or the next, but the preparation grows stronger. Each new tool, each new mission is a step closer to readiness. Humanity for the first time prepares for the unpredictable. It stands poised for a race against the void, against the fleeting nature of chance, against the silence of wanderers who will not wait. In that preparation lies hope. That one day a fragment from the stars will not only pass through unnoticed, but will be met, welcomed, understood. That the galaxy's debris may become for the first time not just a messenger, but a teacher. Until then, the tools stand ready. The telescopes turn their gaze. The missions wait in silence, and the night sky continues to stir, carrying with it the promise of another arrival, another fragment, another question cast into the solar system's light. They arrive in silence. No herald, no voice, no sign of intent. Only motion across the dark. Only faint streaks against the stars. And yet their presence changes everything, for in their paths humanity sees its own fragility reflected back. These interstellar wanderers are reminders of scale, of how small the solar system is in a galaxy filled with billions of stars, each shedding fragments into the void. To us, they are extraordinary. To the universe, they are routine. In their indifference lies the first truth. The cosmos is not arranged for us. It moves to rhythms beyond our comprehension, scattering its debris across gulfs of time and distance that dwarf our existence. And yet, there is a paradox. The closer they are studied, the less they yield. Spectra blur into ambiguity. Orbits hint at forces unseen. Surfaces reflect light in ways that refuse certainty. Each discovery erases as much clarity as it brings. Science thrives on answers, but these objects offer only deeper questions. They are puzzles that grow larger the more one looks. Perhaps their meaning is not in what they are, but in what they awaken. Wonder, when considering that a shard of ice may have traveled for millions of years only to pass briefly near our sun. Fear, when imagining what such a fragment could do if its trajectory intersected with Earth. Humility, in recognizing that the universe does not conspire to explain itself, and that even in an age of powerful telescopes, so much remains hidden. It is tempting to seek warnings in their silence. to imagine them as omens, signals of events to come. But perhaps they are nothing of the sort. Perhaps they are simply reminders of scale, that the human story is small, unfolding in a cosmos that has no obligation to notice it. These visitors are not sentinels, not prophets. They are fragments, cast out from other worlds, indifferent to ours. Yet even in indifference they teach, for their timing carries its own reflection. The universe moves in epochs measured in millions of years. Stars are born, live and die before a single interstellar object might cross into our sight, and yet in the brevity of human civilization, in the narrow window of decades we have seen more than one. It is as though the curtain has parted for an instant, and through it we glimpse not eternity but a fleeting sign that eternity exists. The paradox deepens. Why now, in this century of instruments and data, do we see what was unseen before? Is it coincidence, the natural outcome of better tools, or is it a reminder that the universe has always been in motion, only now revealing a hint of its scale? Whatever the reason, the timing forces recognition. The cosmos does not wait. These fragments appear once and then are gone forever, slipping back into the dark, never to be seen again. We are granted only a moment, a glimpse before they vanish, and so they awaken something deeper, a recognition that certainty may never come, but that meaning does not require certainty. The wonder of these objects is not only in their chemistry or their orbits, but in the human response to them, in the questions they provoke, in the humility they demand. They remind us that the search for knowledge is not only about answers, but about learning to live in mystery. At the center of this reflection burns the sun, a star older than all human memory, a furnace that has held the planets in its grasp for billions of years. Its gravity stretches outward, reaching across space, pulling at every fragment that drifts too near. These wanderers born of other suns find themselves drawn into its light, as though the sun gathers them not to keep but to reveal. Each fragment a story written in ice and stone, each orbit a brief chapter in a narrative that began long before humanity existed. And perhaps, in some poetic sense, they are not racing toward the sun at all. Perhaps they are racing toward us, toward the gaze of beings who can notice, who can wonder, who can ask, toward questions not yet spoken but waiting. Their silence may not be emptiness but invitation, an invitation to reflect, to imagine, to recognize that in a universe of infinite scale, the smallest glimpse can still carry infinite meaning. In the end, they remind us of fragility. The fragility of worlds, of civilizations, of knowledge itself, but also of wonder, that against the vast silence of the galaxy, humanity can still listen, that in the fleeting passage of a fragment across the sky, we can find not just science but awe, not just data but humility. The solar system remains a stage, the planets continue their orbits, the sun burns steadily at the center, and into this performance step these wanderers, actors with unreadable scripts playing roles humanity struggles to define. They come and go, indifferent, silent. Yet in their silence lies a truth older than the stars themselves, that the universe is not made to be understood. It is made to be wondered at. And in that wonder, humanity finds its place, small, fragile, uncertain, but aware. Aware enough to ask, aware enough to feel awe. So the story closes, not with answers, but with questions. Are these messengers warnings, or are they simply reminders? Do they speak of currents unseen or only of chance? Do they carry meaning or only indifference? Perhaps the truth lies not in them but in us, in what they awaken. For as they pass, the sun gathers them briefly in its light. And in that light we see ourselves, fragile wanderers on a small planet racing through a galaxy that will never pause for us. Yet still for a moment we glimpse, and maybe that is enough.